Hello, welcome to Next TMT Talks. I'm Daniel Frankel, co-founder and editor-in-chief of Next TMT, and I'm very pleased today to have with me media entrepreneur Colin Petrie-Norris. You know him as the founder of Xumo, now a big brand with Comcast Charter joint venture. He is a new enterprise, Fairground Entertainment, that is going to produce genre-based video entertainment using generative AI. So one of the first to get out there and say, we're making premium content that you're going to lean back and watch using all AI. It's an interesting concept. Obviously, I have a lot of questions about it. I guess first off, I haven't talked to you in a while, Colin. Since I last spoke to you, I think it was 2020.
Goodness me. All right. Yeah.
You sold your company to Comcast, went to work for Comcast, and back in kind of coastal Orange County, and you could be playing pickleball, golf, hang gliding, traveling the world, but you've chosen to do media tech again. What happened there?
I did a bit of as much of that as I could. I don't know about the hang gliding, but I did the I after some time off from Comcast when I left last summer. I did avail myself of all the beautiful facilities that Orange County has to provide, but I walked back into some might say the spinning airplane propeller of another startup with
Right.
Fairground in October last year. And so my time on the golf course and for hang gliding is on the is steady declining as the new business gets up and running. But yes, very excited to be doing it. It's an amazing space. I think it's something that everybody wherever you travel, somebody has a perspective. There's fear, there's excitement, there's apprehension, but everybody has a conversation around how's AI going to impact entertainment, and everybody has a point of view. And so I do find myself in a really interesting space with what we're doing right now. And it is lovely to see you again. This 2020 seems like just yesterday,
So yeah,
but
it
here we are.
seems like Orange County is a decent juxtaposition. You don't want to be too close to Hollywood right now, saying, "Yeah, I'm doing generative entertainment." We're not going to hire you.
You know, I think, well, look, I think it's important. There are a couple of sort of main core value props that my new business, Fairground Entertainment, has. And I think it's important to mention that, first of all, one of the key differences is it is a community creator powered endeavor. I don't have a small team of in-house people using AI to make things. Fairground is about, I like to use the word, we're a big tent. You get it, right? So, but it is about the community now. We've been working with upwards of 1,000 creators. It's through some partners that we have. We're working with a company called Machine Cinema that does training and skills development, helping people, often from Hollywood, learn these skills, how to build great entertainment, how to get together in little teams, how to build specialization. Because I believe that the future is, yes, I think this is an exciting tool, and it's one of our creators says it's like a new camera angle. It's like a new
Mhm.
perspective on ideas. But at the end of the day, Daniel, it is still a very people-led business. The stories that they're telling, the ideas that they have, and that's sort of core to my value. That's sort of the number one sort of foundation for the business. And so when we're building content, we have a distributed model of hundreds and so eventually thousands and maybe eventually millions of creators that we can help with the content. And the second is it's the platform to organize it all. There has to be how do you onboard this content? How do you sort it? How do you get it distributed? How do you get ready for entertainment? That's the second, that's the tech side of it, which is
Right.
so those are the two things I respect and obviously very aware of what's happening at the moment in the space and sort of the trepidation. But I think what we're hoping to do is by taking a route of people empowerment, I think we're a slightly different space to what people might have expected.
Well, CGI animation, I had that 25 years ago when it emerged. Animators were being displaced, but it created
Mhm.
new types of technology jobs, and you didn't hear too much about that after a while. So
Yeah, I think I've heard that, I think there's, I was a structural engineer before I was anything else. I did water retaining concrete design, bizarrely enough, in South Africa.
Yeah, I wanted to get into your background a little bit. I
Uh,
mean, your LinkedIn profile starts with
uh,
creating a credit card system in South Africa. And
uh,
so then you get into digital advertising early. And what leads you to the entertainment space? Walk us through that briefly.
uh, Very quickly, was a structural engineer first. Um, was recruited by Capital One, was doing a joint venture with a South African bank. Went to work with them. They moved me around. I went to the UK and then back to Washington, D.C. with them. A friend of mine who was ex Capital
So
One.
how do you get recruited by a bank doing structural engineering? I mean, so
I think, well, I think at the time, I think the bank found that people, well, I guess this is where the thread is. Good, like problem solving, right? I think, and I think maybe an ad for engineers, basically we're here to do is solve problems, build
right.
things, and so I think that was a skill that was sought after at the time by the bank, and so I found my way into it. Went with Capital One. A friend from Capital One started an online advertising company, which is my first startup I joined. It was called advertising.com. It was the Scott Ferber, and then that was sold to AOL in 2005. I stayed in the advertising business with advertising.com, AOL, and then to another ad tech business called Specific Media.
Right.
And from there, that was the genesis of Xumo, and that's where I converted from the ad side into the content side, and that's what I've been doing now, learning about and building streaming TV.
So you saw
So
ad-supported video pretty early.
yeah, I think being in the ad business since very early 2000s, and sort of seen every big, we saw display ads, the rise of display ads, and how that was the first banner ads on AOL and MSN. That then went to mobile, and then to social media advertising, and then the sort of CTV has been the big sort of trend in the last 6 or 7 years. And of
Hmm.
course, I find myself very sort of immersed in that industry.
So the last, obviously, you're hunting. Obviously, you're trained to for the latest technological innovation in whatever. And how do you arrive? I mean, you said so yourself. You're not an AI technologist, or you didn't start that way. What were the chain of events that led you here?
Well, I think it's an undeniable. What I'm excited by here, Daniel, is I think you talk about the type of content we're building. I'm excited by the trajectory I see in this. I don't pretend to be a PhD in systems engineering, writing the generative AI code, and I'm not an AI specialist in that sense. But I can see what is happening from the first videos, the first tools just a year ago, and the rapid increase, the iteration in power
Mhm.
and quality. And I just see that it will absolutely intersect with what we call the traditional entertainment world. I have an experience in distribution and monetization, the streaming technology. That's what I've done for a long time with Xumo. And so I think applying those components to this new type of content, I think is a really interesting combination. And so that's why I jumped in when I sort of came up with the idea.
So is Fairground going to produce and distribute? What do you envision? How long will the content be? I know the press release talks about, the very genre animation, horror. I didn't really understand how horror fit into the model. Maybe get to that a little bit. What does the initial structure of the company do and look like?
So I call it, we're a combination studio and streaming platform. And we are a studio because we are going to be building and producing shows and entertainment. We're doing that because a lot of what you see made with AI today is made for social media. It's
Right.
made for getting your attention for a few seconds in a Twitter X feed or on Reels. It's a different skill, and it's a different sort of challenge to do something that you want to watch for 30 minutes or 20 minutes and sort of suitable for television or other forms. So we're applying a little bit of what we know and I've learned and sort of commissioning shows and starting to experiment. Actually, and I say experiment, we're doing some very interesting work building the first 20, 30-minute shows. And we'll do in multiple formats this year. So Fairground will be building and doing our own shows. We've got a number of clients already, places to put them.
Hmm.
And we'll be starting to build up a portfolio. The genres you talk about, there are some which are more suitable right now, we feel, than others. I think animation is certainly interesting, horror, science fiction, things like anime is interesting. And so we'll be building shows which are in that realm, and then also a few others. And so that is, and learning. I think with Daniel, maybe if I might, when we started Xumo, as you remember, we had short form video content that was made for social networks that we compiled into 24-hour channels, short form clips.
Right.
And then something magic happened, and here we are with a $10 billion industry with fast, with everybody participating in it. I think in a way I've seen this playbook before. Like this is it. Yes, it may start with shorter forms, but you watch what happens, you iterate, you do better, better, and that's what the AI is so good at. And the tools you can do things very quick.
Right.
So I don't pretend to know where we'll be 3 years from now. I just know it's going to be better than where we start, and that's sort of the logic behind it.
Yeah, I mean, I think the perception was that we're going to see in the next, starting now or a few months ago, we're going to see a lot of user-generated short-form content emerge on social media, 2 to 5 minutes long, maybe even shorter than that. And then from
Hmm.
there, more premium iterations will sort of slowly evolve. So it's sort of a surprise to see somebody ambitiously say, no, we're going to do, and you would call this premium content, right?
Yeah, I think it is. Well, I know it is. It is absolutely the and we've learned now and know enough. There is something interesting here as well. Um, with entertainment, there's this old adage of the beauty's in the eye of the beholder.
Mhm.
There's a lot of people who love very different things to what I like. Um, and I think premium and quality uh, perception matters, and the target audience matters. And so I think in addition to what I'm describing of like the shows is we've got a particular target audience, a set of consumers in mind, and then we're really searching to build and talking to them and trying to understand them so that the quality the shows which we're generating resonate with that community. So I think that is so it's not just can we build shows and then go find a home for it. We've got a very specific audience in mind, and we've got a certain type of like starting off points, and it's about finding and getting building a connection with that audience. And I think that's when the magic happens, when you start with small audience but then you get broad appeal. I think that's when you get to really scale products.
Any kind of emerging technology like this, I mean, there can't be an excess of really great creative technology talent out there. How do you recruit those individuals? How do you find them?
You know, it is interesting. There are stats out from platforms like Sora who have over 1 million people making videos using their platform. It is exploding. There are around the world, everybody from just doing one little try to folks building
Right.
businesses around it. And it is growing very, very fast. What we're doing is, again, like any other business, is we're working with a select. There are many creators out there, but back to the point, Daniel, there are people who can make great entertainment is still a smaller subset of those. And so we're working with getting the word out. What we are offering to that community is a way to get distributed and monetized. And I think that's really exciting for them. You can put your stuff on social media, but you don't make a lot of money out of it. You get maybe good lots of clicks and eyeballs. And what we can do is say we can build you something more viable. And we're getting a lot of attention. I think the community is small, it's close knit.
Mhm.
It's fun. It's a very diverse community from all over the world, and so I think we're taking them serious. We're sitting down, we're meeting with. I'm doing a lot of one-on-ones, and I'm going to sessions, and it's back to the old days. I'm really just working with them individually and in small groups, and then but it's in the hundreds and growing, of people actively involved in making what we're starting off with. And over the year, I think there's going to be probably thousands involved.
Yeah, I mean, you've poked your head up with a decent backing, Viant, and a nice amount of resources to get started. How competitive will this get over the next year, do you think? I mean, there must be folks that are thinking along these lines, maybe not the same model, but
Yeah, look, I think it's not a unique insight that AI matters, right? And entertainment will be affected by it. I have no doubt this will be a vibrant space, let's call it that way. And I think what matters here is having some financial resources, having the right amount, which I'm very like very grateful to the Vanderhooks and for Viant and for my other syndicate of investors that have come in and get me started. I'm feeling great about what I have to work with. The world has also changed, Daniel. You don't need teams of 50 people to build things anymore, whereas you did 10 years ago. People can be made, there's a lot, a lot can be done with less. But I think the space will pick up where we offer something unique. Again, with my background and the people I'm working with and the team is, I think, an understanding of the entertainment ecosystem and relationships with distributors and quote unquote buyers of this content. And I think I understand their challenges. This is something, it's an area which is fraught with copyright risk. It's fraught with production quality. It's
Mhm.
when you're working in this world, you have to get all of that. So it isn't just about spinning up content and then finding throwing it against the wall to see how it sticks. So I like this. I also think competition sometimes is good. There is, it helps us all sort ourselves out. But right now, I think we're one of the first, if not the first, with this model, which is fun.
Well, you seem energized, Colin. Putting the long hours in again, but enjoying it. You got a healthy glow about you, so that's good. Um,
That's the Southern California, I think.
Thank you for doing this today, and
You're welcome.
we'll be tracking the business, and we'll be talking sooner than last time. I anticipate. So
I hope so. No, right. Thank you so much, and I really appreciate you and the team. But yes, great to talk to you again, and I look forward to the next time.
great. Thank you. For all the folks out there, please subscribe to Next TMT, www.nexttmt2ts.com, and pass this around on social media. Tell your friends. We'll see you soon.